So at the moment, in terms of AI, how do you see AI when it comes to the app? You touched it around the data. I'm sure you guys have to use a lot of data analytics, but that is not really still AI, because at the moment, for instance, even ChatGPT and all these major platforms, you mentioned images, it's really disruptive, even for instance, for creating new fashion trends. I've been playing around with the human AI avatars, and actually we're building that even here on this channel. We've been actually talking about that. And it's going to be disrupt a lot for us. We're working with an agency in Hong Kong that is a very good friend of ours. And it was actually profiled here. I profile actually some of these companies in the channel. And for instance, they created a fashion influencer that interacts with brands and does a lot of different things. So there's a couple of brands that build as well right now experience between the metaverse, the AI, and these different experiences. As a mainstream app that is, of course, dealing with premium brands, how do you see, first of all, AI, and then this bridge with the metaverse immersive experiences and all these kind of virtual influences that are coming out of this? Because I see them as AI as well. So
the definition of AI is like really hard, as we all know. Like it's not actually clear. So let's just get that bit out of the way.
Yes, it's very important. I agree.
It is, and like, you know, we had this really interesting conversation internally, you know, where some of my peers were asking, well, what are we doing with AI? And I said, well, what do you mean? And sort of we got into like quite a deep discussion about, like, you know, over many weeks about what that meant for Lyst. And I found it interesting because Lyst has got a long history with machine learning. Since 2013, we've applied a lot of machine learning across the product to solve this problem of such a vast catalog. You know, and that's, as I alluded to earlier on, that's like collaborative filtering techniques for recommending products, the right products to customers, to visual recognition of the catalog items. I mean, if you imagine, for example, you know, we've got like multi-brand retailers on our platform and brands, and they're all pulling in at points the same product, but with different photographs of those products and different descriptions. And it's really like, it's very, very, very messy data. You know, so I would argue that we use artificial intelligence, and I would argue that we use artificial intelligence whenever we use computer vision to look at an image and interpret the image and turn that image into some computerized or like data form that allows us to work out whether or not it's actually the same image, the same product, which is something that we do today. You know, we've invested quite a bit of time and effort recently using an open source library from OpenAI, which is based on their large language model at some point in the past. It's an open source library. But what we're doing with that is it is using it to interpret fashion attributes. Like maybe this is a tight fitting shirt, maybe this is a Western cut, especially because of the buttons. Maybe it's, you know, long pointy collars, those sorts of things, and building up a view of these fashion attributes that our customers interact with, and what's best suited for each individual customer. Like, this is our personalization experience. And I would argue that that's AI also, because what's it doing is using a large language model to infer human language context around an image that it's looking at with its retina, and its retina is the binary image of a file that you upload, and its interpretation of it. So when I think of AI, I sort of think about that, and I think like we're there, we're doing it, and we're using it, and we have been using many aspects of AI over time. But yes, I also understand your point. There's almost something freeform about asking questions to something which replies to you with intelligent results and understands the meaning behind the things that you're asking. And again, I think that partially we're doing that. It's less human interaction AI that we're using today across the product. I think there will become a point, you know, I've seen the trials, lots of people have done these sort of like AI shopping assistant type things. And I try and compare it, and I think about it, you know, in comparison with like a human shopping assistant that many of the high-end brands offer via WhatsApp, who tells you about new things that are coming in. Spotify have tried this, as you alluded to, I think, with their kind of like robot, their AI DJ. I'm not sure yet. I think that, do e-commerce customers, do they yet trust and do they have great experiences with these virtual assistants? And do people want to type in, no, I'm not quite into that, I want something else. I'm looking for something a little, it's all very long form, it's all very difficult. And I'm not quite there. And nobody's talking about major success with this either. I don't see tons and tons of articles being pumped out from e-commerce saying how fantastic and what an uplift and how incredible the experience now is for the customer now that they've added in their virtual shopping assistant. And again, I put this back into the same category I was saying, is like, I'm not saying that those won't become really great foundational things at some point. I'm almost just standing, waiting for them to turn into something really, really like useful and really, really like loved by a customer. And then on the metaverse side of things, I don't know, man. I think like maybe that's off in the future. I don't know. Let's see what Zuck has to say about it in his next update to shareholders.
No, fantastic. No, I understand that there's a lot of hype versus reality, and I love that hype versus reality is really important too, especially when you're looking at numbers and really reality of e-commerce. And like you said, you need, especially with the quantity of data that you guys have and quantity of products, you have to focus in very specific areas. So last question is, so from the work you're doing right now in terms of course, leading the technology for one of the top fashion apps and brands in the world in terms of e-commerce. So what would be the main highlight that you want to share with our audience? Of course, whatever you can share public. I always like to have a bit of a moonshot vision from you.
Yeah, very cool. So I think that we're working really hard, and we're on the cusp of some really major changes in like the member offering that Lyst offers to customers as it is today. I think that we've come on leaps and bounds in the quality of the data that we have in our platform to enable fantastic experiences. I think that we have come on leaps and bounds in the way that we're using that. We've got a few things at the moment in early prototype, which are going to fundamentally, in my opinion, change the way that the product looks and feels. And I think it's going to delight customers. I think it's going to make, I think it's going to really demonstrate why being a Lyst member is beneficial and why you feel good about your shopping experience every single time you come to the product. I think we're leveraging AI. I think our approaches and our plans for personalization are looking really, really strong. And I think that there's going to be like some really great outcomes for our customers off the back of that. I think that we're going to make it easier and easier and easier and simpler and simpler and simpler. I think we're going to take the customer pain point away of discovery in the fashion space. And I think we're going to do that across many, many, many channels. I think we're going to do that across social media. I think we're going to do that across, fashion in the street. I think we're going to be in a situation where, some of the technology that we're putting into our app for doing, this image sort of search is going to help customers to really find the things they're looking for and take away that kind of stress. We get all sorts of feedback about people screenshotting, and some people take screenshots and they've got screenshot portfolios of all the fashion they want to buy. Some people have text lists of the things, which is even more complex because they've gone off and done the research already and then kept text, and then they'll go and do a search. Like, we want to take all of that pain away. And I think that we're on that journey, and I think we're delivering against that. And I think that the big change is still to come with the latest technology that we're deploying to do that. So that's what I'm the most excited about. I think that within a very short amount of time, we really are going to crack the nut of having a shop which being the place that stops you having to shop around. And for me, that's a really exciting prospect.
Oh, amazing. And it's I think what you guys are doing is already quite exciting, and congratulations for the fantastic work. I know that it's not easy to build what you guys are doing and keep it going and pushing it forward, because the boundaries and the competition in e-commerce are completely crazy. But you guys have really achieving great results. And I know this year you've been doing a lot of interesting things and pushing it forward. So I want to thank you for your time, Anton. There's a lot of more questions, but probably take it. I'm going to do a special about fashion tech. I might get you in and we'll talk this. Thank you so much for your time. Been fantastic. Congratulations to you and to everyone in LIST, and continued success.
Anytime, Dennis. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for having me as a guest.
Thank you so much.